Live from the News Center, this is 7 on your side at 6.
That night when Mr. Qualls made the choice to selfishly kill my sister, he killed a part of my heart as well. I will never be able to get that back. We are forever changed.
Emotional testimony from the family of a woman murdered as they beg for the accused killer to be tried. Their pleas may have gone unanswered.
Also tonight, more than a dozen fraternities at USC are in trouble because of violations that involve alcohol. We'll tell you why and what this means for the rest of the students on campus. First tonight at 6, sheriff's deputies are still in Simpsonville in a neighborhood tonight investigating the homicide of a woman, and now they say they have a person in custody who may be connected to this death. Air 7 was overhead at Hips Road and Lonnie Avenue, where the woman was found inside her home early this morning. And that's where we find 7 on your side's Dave Jordan. He's been on this case all day. What have you found out,
Tom, the
Dave?
victim has been identified as 44-year-old Isabel Zuluaga. Within the last 5 minutes, authorities just removed her body from this house. Now, deputies have been working all afternoon looking for a suspect in her death, and we're told late this afternoon they arrested her 13-year-old son. Neighbors stood on their porches and watched in horror as sheriff's deputies combed through clues at 208 Hips Avenue. That's where a contractor found the body of 44-year-old Isabel Zuluaga just before 9 a.m.
I saw the coroner's van, so assumed it wasn't a good outcome.
Esther Wagner says she barely knew those neighbors and only spoke to them in passing. She says Zuluaga lived here with her son.
You just feel horrible that, she came here probably to better her life, and this happens.
Her son was not at home when deputies arrived, and by mid-morning he was the subject of a manhunt.
Hey, can y'all go inside your house for a few minutes?
We are looking for, at this moment, a 13-year-old male juvenile who lives at the residence that is unaccounted for.
Deputies later found him on Woodruff Road near the Spartanburg County line a short time later and arrested him in connection with his mother's death. Back at the scene, grief-stricken visitors were moved away from the home and interviewed by investigators. Wagner says she hopes her neighborhood gets back to normal.
You hate to see it anywhere, but especially in your own neighborhood, just 200 yards from your home.
Now, investigators are not releasing any more information about her 13-year-old son because of his age, but we're told the case will be handled by family court. Now, Zuluaga's body will be taken to the coroner's office to determine the manner of death. Live in Simpsonville, Dave Jordan, 7 on your side.
All right, Dave, thank you. Now, the Greenville County coroner is saying the victim had multiple injuries and an autopsy is scheduled for tomorrow. New information tonight that we are just learning about the moments that led up to the death of 2 small children who died in a fiery crash. The Greenville County coroner says the mother of the children driving the SUV was cutting through an empty gas station parking lot on Pleasantburg when a car that did not see her crashed into her, causing the SUV to crash into Arthur State Bank. The mother is saying that she was able to get Tyron out of the car, but could not get Micah out in time. Meanwhile, Tyron ran into an office inside the bank where he was found dead. The family of the victims just wrapped up a news conference a couple of hours ago. The family is accepting donations, helping to cover funeral costs. They'll also have a candlelight vigil at the Arthur State Bank location on Pleasantburg. That's happening tomorrow night at 7 o'clock.
We live in a time where I can pack my daughter's lunch and send her to school and find out 6 hours later her name's on a kill list. I mean, to me, that's just, it shouldn't be that way.
A middle school student is at home tonight, suspended. This is after school officials say they found the 7th grade boy with a kill list that included 3 students' names. Now, this story has a lot of you talking, and many of you are demanding answers. Mike Manzoni is live tonight outside Rainbow Lake Middle School in Chesney, and he has new information. Mike.
Yeah, a lot of parents reached out to us on social media asking why the school district sent the student home instead of to jail. Well, we don't know all of the details yet, but we do know that the school did what's called a threat assessment before it decided to send that student home. The District 2 tells us that it's also recommended that that student be sent to an alternative school. Converse College education scholar Dr. Tom McDaniel says a lot of schools use threat assessments in situations just like this, and they consider several factors. The idea behind a threat assessment is to determine if there is a real danger to students.
What is the intent? That's in the person's mind. You can do everything from assessing his tone, to his body language, to the history, has he done this before, to whether or not For example, he might have justification because he's been bullied.
The school district tells us the principal here at Rainbow Lake went around to every classroom today, talked with students, answered any questions, and addressed any concerns that they might have. For now, we're live in Chesney in Spartanburg County. Mike Manzoni, 7 on your side.
Thank you, Mike. Tonight we're learning information about 3 Abbeville high school students and another person arrested after a fight broke out. School leaders say it happened off campus and after school hours last Thursday. They say the group was stopped by police as they were driving across the school parking lot. The officer found an unloaded gun. There's no word on if the school district is taking any action against the students. In about 30 minutes, parents of children in Anderson School District 5 will get to voice their opinions on a proposal to merge 2 middle schools. The possible merger involves Robert Anderson and Lakeside Middle Schools. Tonight, the administration will present plans to expand Robert Anderson to accommodate students that will come from Lakeside. Administrators say they want to do this because Lakeside is the least secure property because of its layout, and administrators want Lakeside students to enjoy the modern facility Robert Anderson has to offer. The district says this will also save about $500,000. If it's approved, the transition would take place in the summer of 2017.
A man accused of murder will get no extra jail time as part of a plea deal that came down today. Roger Qualls is accused of shooting and killing Kathy Owens in his home back in January. Today, this judge in Oconee County accepted an involuntary manslaughter plea and sentenced him to a 5-year suspension. That includes 2 years of home incarceration minus the more than 200 days that he has already spent in jail. The family of the victim begged the judge not to take the plea deal and push for a murder trial.
I think about her every day. It's something I have to live with. And I hate it so bad. I'm so sorry. I just wished I had that day to live over, but I don't.
This pain goes so deep that my mind cannot process it. There is nowhere for all of this to go in my mind. Every day is a struggle. Not a day goes by that I don't think of my sister and that I don't cry.
The solicitor said the plea was made because there was not enough evidence of malice. A grand jury has formally indicted a young man accused of killing a woman on murder and weapons charges. 18-year-old Guy Mitchell III is accused of shooting Tiffany Ford in her home in December. At least 2 people were there and told 911 dispatch that the shooting was an accident. Mitchell has been in jail since turning himself in several days after that shooting.
13 out of 19 fraternities on the University of South Carolina's campus are suspended because of school policy violations involving alcohol. That means the university won't allow most of those groups on campus to recruit, and hundreds of USC men are left with fewer choices. The university says these policies have been in place for a while, but last school year, 18-year-old freshman Charlie Tereni died from alcohol poisoning after an off-campus fraternity party. Students say it's good to see the university enforcing its policies.
I think it's bad, but in my mindset, it could be a lot worse, primarily because there are other universities that have way worse issues than just alcohol. And I see this as a good thing that universities taking a stand against alcohol.
The Interfraternity Council suspended them, and each chapter will have to go before the council to ask for permission to recruit again.
Today, the United Way kicked off its 2015 community campaign. More than 1,000 volunteers, city leaders, local businesses, and organizations all gathered together celebrating this at the TD Convention Center in Greenville. You can see the place was packed. The United Way is known for helping several organizations and lots of families all over the upstate. Next on 7 on your side at 6, Senator Lindsey Graham is hoping to gain momentum on the campaign trail. We'll tell you why he says he's the best person to be your commander.
If your dining experience doesn't sit right with you, watch out before you post a negative review. How one restaurant's cancellation policy could hold people legally liable.
And we have lots of heat across a large part of the country tonight, but some cooler air is going to be moving our way. I'll let you know when to expect it in your forecast coming up.